in my opinion, it's really going to come down to which one of these teams can adapt faster and more efficiently than the other.
Well, it looks like we're going to be starting out on Gardens, and I'm a bit surprised by what we're seeing from St. Peter's to start off with. For all, yeah, there you go. Yeah, see, every time we talk about it, it swaps immediately. The dive tanks here on Gardens, much better. It's a composition you want to play. You want to take control of that point early on, but it's the support lineups and the DPS that are going to be completely different here, and not just in the sky. There's not going to be a real counter for that Echo from St. Peter's. It's going to be Tyre having to try to take him out in the sky, as the Diva's the only one that can really fly up in their face.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only am I surprised to see no Wrecking Ball, I'm also surprised to see no Baptiste from these teams. As we were talking about earlier, he was just recently buffed, and we're hardly going to see supports at all, as both Sellout Squad and Devil have been eliminated. Special K, the next to falls to the main tank. Not missing for Canisius, but this fight is still far from over. We're going to need at least one more clean elimination from one of these teams to really flip it in their favor. But St. Peter's University, they take that elimination on a Special K, and they take that inch and run a mile as they are able to cap the first point in about 20 seconds.
Yeah, it was a great engage there from Nachos, and Nachos said, Nachos support living today, and yes, I hate myself for that joke. And already, they're so close to that duplication, and Min not too far behind with the Valkyrie on the Mercy. So the Echo Mercy, not as common as you see as a Pharmacy, but still very deadly in the sky.
Yeah, Echo Mercy arguably deadlier than a Pharmacy, depending on how the Echo is played, but Sellout Squad gonna get that Vengeance kill on a Junkrat, Tiger finding one as well. The DPS down on both sides, and as Rez loses that mech, Ricardo's Resurrection is gonna come through clean. Minmin's able to make it back out of the fight as well. Nacho's now on the Reaper, gonna commit his Death Blossom, able to find not one, but two, and the D-Mech as well. They're gonna call that 2.5, make it a 3, as Nachos finds Tiger with that elimination. St. Peter's, a very convincing fight win, and they only commit one ultimate to do it.
Absolutely, and now look at what they built up in the meantime. They're gonna have that Primal Rage. They almost have that May Blizzard online, so they still have ultimates to use here. If they're able to get that Blizzard up and they're able to make sure it's not eaten, or as long as they're able to catch one or two people in it, they'll be able to win this fight pretty handedly.
Absolutely, but here comes the Primal Rage and the Blizzard, the Valkyrie out as well, committing 3 ultimates to a fight that really to them has essentially already been won. It's something that we expect to see early on. We see Winston almost dying even with that Primal Rage online. Sellout Squad gonna pop the Coalescence in a desperate attempt to keep the team alive, but that Tyre gonna come through always a little bit stronger. We saw Lucio from Canisius drop the beat just to keep that team alive. The Resurrection come through alive on both sides. We're back into that clean 6v6 with Canisius now committing their ultimates to this fight as well, and this is last fight territory.
You're seeing now the Spider does have that Death Blossom online, the Diva Bomb being committed, so there is no Matrix online for 2 seconds, but isn't able to use it in time. Naja's instead using the duplication to use another one of their own Death Blossoms, and St. Peter's holding on to that once again, and now Devil Nigiri, they're throwing themselves close to this point and almost falling. They need that Lucio to stay alive to touch.
Yeah, and the Lucio might not even be able to now as they fall off the wall, and oh, someone's able to make it in there. It wasn't the Lucio, but it looks like it's going to be the Junkrat who immediately pays the price of their life with that low mobility. Spudinator desperately trying to keep this point alive, able to take out the Echo Mercy combo. Devil able to pick up an elimination as well. Half of St. Peter's University already gone, but Winston with the Primal Rage just trying to make the magic happen. Gonna be unable to do so, as even in that Primal Rage, Reaper is a force to be reckoned with. Canisius in that final hour pick themselves up and cap the point.
Yes, Spudinator on that Reaper is a true tank buster. Can do so much damage, even with the Winston's extra health pool from the Primal Rage. Still gonna just chow down through it. Now, the first clip has happened for Canisius. They have control of the point, but they don't really have a lot to work with for this next fight. That Sound Barrier might be the only thing they have online. And St. Peter's, they still have some tools to work with. They have that Valkyrie, they have that Blizzard. The Blizzard didn't get a ton of value last time, but now being able to demech that Diva, they just have a free use of it.
Yeah, there goes the Blizzard. It's going to go in quick, and it looks like it's not going to be able to find any immediate freezes. Devil able to drop that beat beforehand. Not going to keep them alive with that kind of damage coming out of St. Peter's University here. Min, she's not popped that Valkyrie. Coalescence coming out as well from Sellout Squad. It's going to be 2 up, make it 3 in favor of St. Peter's University as Nachos picks up yet another double kill. Going to find the D-Tech. Here comes another Death Blossom. Able to secure 2 more kills with the back end of that Death Blossom. 50% on the point for Canisius, but I don't think they're going to be able to recontest here.
That overtime ticker is gonna be not stopped just yet. There is Lucio able to touch, and there's the orb coming in from the Moira to help keep them alive. Brigand Bunny gonna switch over to the last second, but Spudinator not gonna find anything with the Death Blossom.
Spudinator's Death Blossom down the drain there in St. Peter's University. Yeah, Rez all has but secured this victory. 1 elimination comes through onto the May from Junkrat here. Canisius desperately trying to flip this point. There's 2 more eliminations coming through St. Peter's. Junkrat, the sole survivor on the point, can only do so much by themselves. And St. Peter's University, they let the point slip through their fingers, but at the end of the day, they are able to get it back.
Nachos is the example of Reaper at home actually being better than Reaper in the store. Is you're seeing those duplications, those Death Blossoms, they found so much more value, and here's one of them right now at the beginning of this point. I mean, just complete dominance. Is able to cancel the res there. I didn't even see that, but Frankenman was trying to go for a very aggressive resurrection. Wasn't able to find it because of that Death Blossom. They got 2 in this fight with the Echo Ult. That's how great Duplicate can be.
Yeah, Duplicate, absolute just powerhouse of an ultimate, one that finds incredible value, especially swapping to a high damage character like that Reaper. We saw Nachos get, I think, 2 Death Blossoms per duplicate, so that really came out very effectively. As we move into Night Market, we're going to see Canisius go for a little bit of an unconventional swap here. Not only are they going to be running a Sombra, they're going to be running a Winston Roadhog, and we're finally going to see that Baptiste come out. So a lot of changes come out from Canisius, where very few come out from St. Peter's. They're kind of running that if it's not broke, don't fix it mindset, but it's a nasty hook comes through on the sellout squad. They're not making it out of that one alive. That gives Canisius a massive advantage against St. Peter's. Now they just need to take advantage of it and continue to hold W.
You see, though, St. Peter's, they do have the point right now, so if they're able to sell out for a little bit longer, they can. They do get the first cap. There is a hack right now onto the Reinhardt, and almost got out of there alive, but this fight is going to go in Canisius College's favor.
Yeah, Canisius finally flipping the point in. They're going to have to give up about 10% to do it, but better 10 than 100, you know, so they are able to take advantage of this and push in very aggressively. Canisius now, they flip the point, and they're going to be able to catch up relatively quick. St. Peter's only securing 12%.
That's the issue right there with the Moira. You saw that Cell Squad falling first. Didn't have that Wraith form. You know why? Because they used it as a mobility ability at the beginning of that engage, just trying to get to the point a bit quicker. If they had had that, they might have been able to survive that.
Absolutely, they might have been able to survive at the end of the day there, but you know, you've got to know when to use it and when not to. I think they probably didn't expect the engagement to happen so quickly, and just like that, Ricardo wraiths in and just wraiths straight back out, unable to find a lot of value. As Spudnator gets a little bit too confident with their elimination skills and tries to find the elimination, but instead gets eliminated themselves. Nachos takes Special K off the map with that whole hog and secures another elimination on Tiger. Right now, in my opinion, the player to watch out for in St. Peter's, because they have just been flawless on this Echo so far.
No doubt about that. You saw Spudinator, as you said, going a bit too deep there. They tried using the high noon amplification matrix, but instead it was Ricardo, a great bait there. It was just right in the face of the McCree. Ended up using their own Wraith form, got out of it, and then it looks like Spudinator's got a little bit too confident.
Yeah, confidence is, you know, it can absolutely get you killed at the end of the day. You've got to know when to push in and got to know when to hold them and when to fold them, right? And Spudinator there got a little bit too confident, refused to fold them, and got folded instead. So Nachos, once again, looking for massive eliminations, taking Spudinator clean out of the fight. Yet another transformation going to come through. They're going to be hacked this time. That hardly matters at the speed this Echo is farming.
Already at 50% to another whole hog. Duplication timing only about 1 second, so not gonna find a kill there, but right now St. Peter's, they are in the spawn of Canisius.
Yeah, Canisius, this is a prime opportunity to at least attempt to backcap the point, but instead the Sombra, the one player that'd be able to do that quite easily, is choosing to stick with the team and hold the fight aggressively here. Oh, I'm sorry.
They're winning this fight very early on. They don't even have to use the EMP. You see that St. Peter's, they got too confident there. Same thing that Spudinator had earlier on. They went way too deep and they just lost that fight after some very good hacks coming out from Muba. That EMP still going to be online, and Min not quite at that Valkyrie yet. They really need to get that online and use it before the EMP falls to have any chance of winning this next fight.
Yeah, depending on how aggressive Sombra plays here, Canisius could take home this fight rather convincingly, but this is almost identical to what we saw on Gardens just minutes ago, where St. Peter's, they had that last fight scenario, Canisius capped, and St. Peter's flipped it right back around in the blink of an eye, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that exact same thing happen.
Well, there is one pretty much bubble used already. The Graviton Surge will be thrown in, and the Death Blossom on top.
That's a massive ultimate combination there. They get off the immortality field as well, and Ricardo on a rampage. We're not saying Nachos was the player to watch out for and wanted to prove us wrong that this Reaper right here is the damage dealer for St. Peter's. They absolutely went on to try, but they can't let their hubris get ahead of them. They almost gave their life to that soldier, and they're not going to let this soldier out alive. Spudinator again, just barely the skin of their teeth, able to make that engagement. 10 seconds left for St. Peter's. Just as I predicted, they did exactly what I expected them to do. They pushed in slow, they let Canisius cap, and then at the end of the day, they might be able to take this home just as easily.
The whole hog not gonna find out the Winston on the other side, but Trade's coming in.
Yeah, Trade's coming in quick. St. Peter's gonna find a double elimination. Min, she gets the res, but can she make it out of that engagement? Valkyrie is online, she's able to do so. Nachos finds Tiger, and that Roadhog missing. He's He's a damage dealer all his lonesome, and Special K now gone as well. The tank lineup gone for Canisius. That leaves the remaining 4 kind of desperate. They can only do so much without the tanks there. Overtime kicks back in as Frankenbunny sends herself into the fray. Will be eliminated right away, and St. Peter's University takes Lijiang Tower 2-0.
The EMP was the fight winner there for Canisius, but what happened? They just don't use it in time. They use it way too late in the fight. They didn't use it right before the Graviton Surge was thrown in. Instead, they waited until they were down 2 people already. They just walked through the amplification matrix that Frank and Bunny put out, and that was just all St. Peter's for most of that. There were a few back and forth moments, but I mean, as you said, it looked very similar to that first one. On the second one, or even though Canisius, they had ultimates to use SPU, they were just able to get it done. They were able to play as a better team there. They were able to be a little bit more coordinated, and coordination is so important at the upper echelons of collegiate play like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Team coordination at the end of the day is what this game is all about, and we just saw St. Peter's. They were maybe coordinated a little bit more than Canisius. Like you said, there were those moments. They were back and forth a little bit, but at the end of the day, St. Peter's, they were on top of that fight 9 out of 10 times. They lost the point a few times, but they always took it right back. And as we go into these replays here, we're going to see really the moments where it really came down to St. Peter's being able to get aggressive. And this is going to be that early hook onto Sellout Squad. And we're going to see that the Moira just barely at the end of that hook gets the elimination, comes through as well. So Canisius, they have that massive opportunity here. Here's Nachos on that Roadhog as well. Now we saw they got hacked out of the one-hole hog, but the value they find here just pushing Canisius further back into spawn. Every second counts right now, and they're able to get them all the way back. Rez is going to hit that, I believe, 3 or 4-man grab as well in this replay, which is going to be the replay that really we see that, that Death Blossom come out as well from Ricardo. Cleans up 2 and just cracks the point wide open for St. Peter's once again.
As soon as that bubble came down from the Winston, that's when you did the EMP. Just jump right in, push forward with the square. I think, though, they were playing a bit too passive. They were waiting for the rest of St. Peter's to come onto the point. You saw where the Baptiste was. They had the square all the way in the back, waiting for the amp matrix to be used. But you can't do that. You got to know your winning conditions. You can't sit on an EMP. You can't wait for the team to push, and you have to be the ones pushing into them. You saw what happened there. They used the Graviton Surge. They used the Death Blossom in tandem. That EMP comes out so late. The amplification matrix is not valuable at all, and Canisius going to lose Lijiang 0-2. But they're only down 1 map so far in this series. I could still see this going to a map 4 or 5, depending on if they get their stuff together. Also, they had a bit of a weird comp, as we talked about earlier. The Winston Roadhog doesn't exactly work out in tandem as well as some other things. So maybe if they try to run some more back to basic stuff, they'll be able to get into the series.
Yeah, back to basics is never a dangerous place to go. You want to stick to your guns. You want to stick to what you know works best. And like you said, we talked about this 100 times before, so we won't talk about it much more. But as playing Sombra, you cannot sit on that EMP. That is the entire point of her kit. Her ultimate, one of the fastest charging DPS ultimates in the game. If you do the damage correctly, you need to be using that way more often. I don't think we saw a single EMP come out of that engagement. Let's move on to King's Row. We've talked about this many times. This is the home of Brawl, and we see a swap from Canisius. They've got Infamy now on that main tank position, so it's going to be a little bit different of a lineup. Monster as well, I believe, is a new sub in for, yes, we see Devils swapped out of the DPS role, and Monster now on the Ana position. So that's going to be a lot of swaps coming out from Canisius, essentially half of a new team.
Is it going to be what they need to get them over the edge here and take a map? You know, sometimes swaps, they can be a bit risky. Sometimes those risks pay off. Composition also a bit different. The Grab Dragon probably going to be what Canisius is looking for to win these fights. There is no speed on either side so far. It's the same supports across the board. Finally going to see some more Ana play. See how that nade change comes into play. Her nade now is going to go through teammates if they are at full health, so maybe some giant antis going to come in across the way.
Yeah, absolutely. The Ana nades can get much more aggressive, and Nacho is just trying to find any value on the Ashe, but unable to really do so quite yet. So really starting to put the damage down on the Spudinator, who we've seen time and time again get caught out due to poor positioning, and they kind of stood there a little bit longer than they should have. They were able to make it out alive. He's, of course, Spudinator the first one to go, as I say it. I don't really want to call that a caster's curse, but Infamy going to be the next to fall as the charge comes through. Devil able to pick up Rez with that Storm Arrow, but Nacho is going to pick Devil right back up. The Resurrection comes through onto Rez. We see St. Peter's already pushing into the full 6, getting ready to cap with less than a minute off the clock.
That was a great push. As he said, Spudinator playing on that high ground head didn't have that much help. I was surprised that Frank and Bunny wasn't on them with the damage boost or some sort of pocket. That's going to cost them that first pick, and then Infamy just charging all the way in, went way too deep. The bubble was not there from Special K. A great anti-nade from Sellout Squad. Look at the ultimates already online for St. Peter's. They're gonna have the Shatter, the Valkyrie, and the Nano Boost. So a lot to work with as they get into Streets phase. And you see Canisius, they're playing very far back. They really need to push onto this archway. This archway is a great defensive position for the defense because there's so few places for the attack to come through.
Yeah, absolutely. The defense, we talk about this a lot. This is kind of King's Row point 1.5, an infamous point to really defend and stall a point right here. Spudinator once again getting very aggressive in the front line. And if I'm not mistaken, last time we spoke to Canisius, they were called Infamy as kind of a Reinhardt specialist. So to have that Reinhardt in now and be losing a map so convincingly as they are in this moment, it's going to be disastrous to have that Reinhardt, kind of your specialist, still get outplayed by St. Peter's University's main tank. And Spudinator there in kind of a panic was just running into the wall, and that is a very unfortunate thing to see mid-fight. Nacho's not really hitting the shots on this Ashe as well, though, so if Canisius can start to take advantage of that, that can be very helpful. But first, they're going to have to burn through the 5 ultimates that are going to come out of St. Peter's University.
That's going to be 2 Nano Shatters back-to-back, but it's going to be Ricardo on the flank, only going to find 1. Bob going to be committed too, so you see that St. Peter's, their DPS, they try to go for the flank rotation, and it does not work out in their favor.
It doesn't work out at all. Infamy picks up 4. We were watching Ricardo that entire time, and Infamy in the chaos of that fight picks up 4. And as I say, the Reinhardt specialist needs to step up. That's exactly what he's going to do for us. Another mistake from St. Peter's is they just used every ultimate they had. Now they've got a Valkyrie and they've got a grab, but they're going to have to make the magic happen, to say the least. Spudinator gets way too aggressive once again, pays the price. That flash fan combo from McCree, an unstoppable one, but he's going to get rezzed. His hubris gets refunded a little bit here, and he can once again live another day. You see, Special K has that grab online 4% earlier than Rez, but here comes the one from Rez as well. So now it's going to come down to Special K. Here comes the grabs, here comes the dragons, and there's no defensive ultimate here. Able to pick up 2, both for Zarya and the Ana. 3.5 minutes still left on the clock for St. Peter's, but Canisius have finally found the opportunity to turn this fight around.
They were able to turn that around with a great combination. That grab dragon is just such a tried and true formula. But you saw Spudinator committing the tactical visor, so they're not going to have that ultimate online. That would have been great if they had it for this fight. Just ran the soldier all the way behind for a flank. Now all they have is the Shatter. St. Peter's, they've lost the last few fights, but now they are starting to rebuild that ultimate bank just a little bit. And not just swapped over to the Doomfist a fight or 2 ago. If they wait for this Doomfist ultimate to come online, they might try to go for that Space Jam combo.
Yeah, the Space Jam combo, a nasty one that I just wish we saw more often. Doomfist, one of my favorite characters to watch, and I know that's an unconventional opinion, but Nacho is putting in the work already. Spudinator the first to go, I think, for the 3rd fight in a row. Even the ones Canisius had won, I believe Spudinator was the first person eliminated. Here comes Ricardo with another high noon. At least he's going to come out quick. Infamy gonna shatter it, though. Find a double, but a shatter from the Reinhardt from St. Peter's. Poviga, I believe, coming right back. Melomonster and Infamy, the first combo to go, eliminated by their counterparts there. Here comes Nachos just putting in the work onto this team. Frankenfunny, she's going to fall next. Special K not far behind. And if you're St. Peter's, you've got to feel pretty good. You're pushing into 3rd point with about 4 minutes left on the clock.
That interaction there looked very interesting when Poviga hit the Shatter. Nachos, I believe, booped them up into the air so that Shatter wasn't on the shield wasn't on the ground, so that Shatter is going to go up just a little bit. Ended up hitting Infamy. They kept the Graviton Surge, so they don't have a true fire combo for it here, but if they use it aggressively, they can just try to run in and take this 3rd point early on.
Yeah, no doubt. So we talked about this last game with the Sombra early on for Canisius, but we're going to have to see it come from St. Peter's now. You've got to use the grab. That's been held for 3-4 minutes, but now they're going to save it till the very end in an attempt to just win this fight convincingly, and it looks like it may work out as Zarya, off the back of her own grab, finds a triple elimination. The tag line for St. Peter's just rolling through all of Canisius. Right now, that's going to be a technical, no, it's going to be a complete team kill. 3 minutes left on the clock. St. Peter's, I mean, they barreled through that 3rd point.
Second point, they struggled, but the 1st and 3rd points were so good that they're still going to have about 3 minutes in the time bank, 5 seconds less than that, 2:55. So got stalled out, but they made the swaps they needed. They got Nachos on that Doomfist, and I was talking about this earlier. Nachos on Lijiang, pretty insane on this Echo. Has not really slowed down at all. The Ashe definitely wasn't as good, but you're putting a projectile player onto a hit skin here, so it's a bit different mechanics there.
Yeah, a hit scan and projectile, obviously 2 very different play styles for those DPS lineups. And we see Nachos, it really does depend on the hero a little bit, but they can still make it work with heroes they're uncomfortable on. That Ashe, like I mentioned, was a little bit sloppy, but going up against Canisius, in particular Spudinator, being as sloppy as they have been today, has made it much easier for Nachos to get aggressive and play any damage hero they really want to.
My man Spudnator just trying their best right now, but I agree. The positioning has not been ideal, so maybe if they have that damage booster, the pocket from Frankenbunny, can really pop up it. The ultimate timing as well hasn't been as great, but Spudnator, maybe they'll turn it around here on the Widow. One thing that I found really interesting is, we're talking about the Ashe briefly, and if they had been not flanking on that one fight that Infamy just cleaned up on, that could have been a much faster time bank.
Absolutely.
Instead, they go for, kind of a cheeky play. Doesn't work out in their favor. They lose 1 or 2 fights after that. And still, they regroup, they get it done, and now they're going to try their best at defending. Spudnator's going to try their best at clicking heads.
Yeah, Spudnator's going to have to really show up here. Everybody kind of expects a Widowmaker, at least at the beginning of an attack, because if you're in spawn still, you can just go right back in and change. Might as well try to find that elimination early on. Spudnator unable to do so. It's also weird to see Widowmaker with 175 health still. But as we move in, 30% to the sights, which are very helpful, and those infrared sights, it kind of shows you where the entire enemy team is. Great for communication. Povega, almost the first one to fall there. And the Widowmaker, Canisius sticking to it, but they're really going to have to start finding some eliminations. Oh, and as I say it, there we go. Ricardo the first to fall, and if Canisius can clean up the back of this fight, they'll be able to cap just as fast as St. Peter's.
Ricardo making the exact same mistake on that soldier we went to do, but a huge anti-A coming in from Celiswag. It's going to force all of Canisius to back out, so despite getting that first pick, they weren't able to play the advantage.
Yeah, they find the first pick, but Frankenbunny's the second one, and losing that main support, just losing a Mercy in general is going to be disastrous for your team. Spudnator cannot make the magic happen. Nacho's back on this hit scan, absolutely showing us where they belong, finding 3 eliminations in that prolonged fight. St. Peter's, they took a lost fight and they made it a one fight.
Yeah, it was a one fight in the the terms of winning it, and just the fact that it's only really been one overall fight so far. It went on so long that already 120 is off the clock, and meanwhile St. Peter's, they've built up almost 4 ultimates.
Yeah, Spudnator right now just unable to find the value they need to on this Widowmaker. They can dump in the damage, but they need to be finding these eliminations a lot faster. Povega gonna drop the Shatter, able to pick up 2, and Special K looks like they're gonna pay the price. Ella Monster not far behind, and poor Frankenbunny, she's caught in the fray once again. Unable to do much. She gets the Resurrection onto her Reaper, but gives her life to do it. Canisius, they're gonna have to make some swaps here.
Yeah, neither the Widow or the Reaper are getting the value they need, especially the Devil Nigiri on this Reaper. They've been trying to do these flanks all around the side, but instead they're caught out every time. So they've only at 47% for their ult charge with 2 minutes left. So less than half the ult bank charge in less than half that first 4 minutes. They need to get something done. They do have all of the other ultimates besides the DPS ones.
Yep, and Spudnator just blinks it into the back and is found out by Nachos right away. I don't even know where Melon Monster was for that to hit, but unfortunately Nachos finds yet another elimination just right now. I mean, St. Peter's doing a phenomenal job, but Nachos very clearly the damage dealer for this team.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're seeing them do pretty well in the hit scan roll, a lot better than they were on the Ashe. I've always thought that Ashe's firing feels a bit clunky no matter how good you are, so looks like they're finally gonna have something to push in here with Canisius. They have the tank ult, they have the Reaper in the back lane once again.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of combinations here. They can have Infamy hit a Shatter and Nano him off the back of it. They can grab and Nano Devil in the back line. Never mind, Devil's going to die once again, and they're just going to have to push into a 5v6. They're running out of time, and with a big Shatter down the drain, they're going to commit a Nano, but Infamy still just absolutely ripped to shreds. Canisius, they cannot make it happen right now.
That Nano might be the difference maker, and it is. You're seeing that Infamy going to be taken out, but it's going to be Ricardo on the high ground with the Visor, cleaning things up, and now it's looking very dire for Canisius. They will have the Death Blossom online shortly. They will have the Valkyrie. They already have the Graviton Surge, but time and time again, they've had this ultimate advantage, and they just have not been able to execute in the right order.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. They had the ult advantage for so many of these engagements, and while they don't have it anymore, they're going to have a lot of ultimates come online. But Devil, I mean, you've been playing Reaper for almost 4 minutes, and you haven't gotten his ultimate once. That's a pretty telltale sign that maybe you should be swapping off that hero.
And there's the grab, there's the high noon, there's the Nano. The Death Blossom gonna be CC'd with that flashbang, and it is all St. Peter's in this final fight.
Nacho's basically playing a 1v6. The rest of St. Peter's doing a great job, but Nacho's just got 4 eliminations in that final fight and stunned 2 ultimates. So it was pretty unfortunate to see. Special K's grab got eaten as well, and St. Peter's just similar to RIT on King's Row just a little bit ago. Absolute masterclass. Full cap and then full hold.
Even better than I would say on Legion. Not giving up any point percentage for that first point is pretty impressive. And even though they got stalled out a little bit on the second point, probably due to this play right now from Infamy, still had 3 minutes, which is a great time bank. Yeah.
I'm
So
glad
this,
to see this.
yeah, we didn't see it before because we were on the McCree. So there's the 1 kill from the McCree, but here is just Infamy swinging away.
Yeah, Nano to Ryan swinging away, a terrifying thing to go up against, even as another Nano to Ryan. It comes up very difficult to who comes out on top of that engagement. But we said it already, St. Peter's University, a very convincing win. And as we are going to go into our third and possibly final map with the momentum we've seen from St. Peter's, we are going to take a quick break. So once again, these players can crack their fingers, run to the bathroom. I know I got to use the bathroom. I recommend you guys at home do the same. But we'll see you guys in just a minute, so don't go far. We got a lot of Overwatch for you. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back. I am Septilence, here with Jag to bring you what may possibly be the final map of Canisius College and St. Peter's University.
It very well might be in. We usually expect a lot of 3 Overwatch, as we like to call it here at EGF. There's just some teams that are at a bit better pace, a bit better skill level than some of the other ones. But, coming into this matchup, we thought this would be a bit closer. So far, it seems like St. Peter's, they've just put themselves ahead early on. They are making the plays they need to on the back of their DPS lineup. They have just been astounding. Nacho's been putting it down on map. Ricardo stepping it up a lot more on Kings Row, really being solid on that hit scan roll. And Canisius College, they got to figure something out. They tried swapping things up. They tried swapping some players, switching roles for Kings Row. Same result. Just weren't able to get it done.
It almost did them worse than on Lijiang Tower, because Lijiang came down to the wire for almost both maps, where Kings Row was a complete 3-0. So it was something that definitely didn't look good. And while this isn't related to Overwatch at all, every time we say Ricardo, I think of that character from Adventure Time, that really creepy little heart guy, and I just can't stop thinking about him. But as we move into this final map, that's going to be Temple of Anubis, Canisius College is going to have to do something very different, and that's something I don't like to talk poorly on individual players, but that's something might be get Spudinator off that Soldier 76.
Or at least, give the Soldier 76 some more resources. You're seeing that
True.
they are getting some damage done, but a lot of the times they're putting themselves in not great positioning. A very aggressive set on the Widowmaker as well. And I'm thinking, man, if there was a Mercy there, that might be winnable. That might be livable. You might get a few picks and be able to get out of your life, build up your infra sites, and then just use them and figure out where everyone else is, or build up that tactical visor, take more high ground, and use it from behind. But they're just a little bit too out in the open, not enough help from the rest of the team. And Canisius College, they're going to stick with that lineup they just ran, except for Tiger's going to be back in the lineup. So a few more Infamy out. Yeah, Special Key back on the Reinhardt, Tiger in an off tank, but Neville Gary not going back to that support role, still switching or sticking to that Reaper. And I'd say, if anything, maybe the Reaper was the problem in King's Row. Took an entire 4 minutes to build up a Death Blossom.
Yeah, Death Blossom then got immediately flashbanged and found 0 value. And it's going to be very difficult for Devil to find even more value on Reaper on defense of Temple of Anubis. That's going to be a very difficult thing to work with, and it's going to be difficult to build the momentum to play Reaper effectively. But Devil being forced into this DPS slot, this might be the only character they feel comfortable with.
It might be what they need, though, because you're seeing right now, they're trying to play this high ground. They're trying to play there with the dive tanks. Instead, see, the Wrecking Ball, very smart, is just going to cut that out and go straight to the point, try to force the rotation, and hit the pile driver right there on the high ground.
Again, chooses that pile driver over knocking the enemy team off the high ground, which can be an effective play, and it looks like it worked out very well here as Res was able to clean up the back of it, able to take Tiger out of the engagement in a spot where it's an unresable position. Monster the next to fall, so already a 3v6 in favor of St. Peter's as Nacho is just on a rampage. Once again, this McCree has been nothing but completely nasty against Canisius College.
Doesn't matter what they play, whether it's the Echo, the McCree. I think they were on something else at one point. Can't remember off the top of my head, but just complete dominance. Devil gonna be alive for just a little bit before falling in a great chase by Ricardo to secure that point. Only 1 minute off the clock. There's gonna be a great snowball potential here for St. Peter's, especially with the fact that they've almost built up that Valkyrie and Primal Reach.
Yeah, absolutely. Snowball potential obviously gets a little bit harder after those changes came in months ago, where the respawn timer for the defending team's much lower after the initial cap, and that's going to make it even harder as Boviga is going to be eliminated right away. St. Peter's, they could push into a 5v6, but with 5.5 minutes on the clock, you don't really have to.
Yeah, they can take their time. They can wait for those ultimates to be built up, just sort of a little bit of poke, a little bit of playing with that passive and just letting them passively be built. But I don't think they want to do that. I don't think they want to cap with less than at least 4 minutes. So right now they're just waiting for Nautius to get that high noon, and once they have that online, I think that's going to be their go key. You're going to see, though, early on, they need the Wrecking Ball to back out just for a second.
Yeah, they need the Wrecking Ball to just back up and catch his breath, even if it's for a moment. But right now, they're pushing her on through this far side, and it's one that works out effectively with maybe a Brawl comp, but pushing it on the Ball Winston, pushing it to a Roadhog nonetheless. Probably not your best call, but St. Peter's, like I said, they've still got plenty of time to make the magic happen, just now going underneath that 5-minute timer.
In the meantime, Tiger shot over to the Roadhog and is found two very high value X3 now, actually. It's a great swap. Again, it doesn't work very well with the Reinhardt, just like it didn't work very well with the Winston on Lijiang, but you're not doing it for that synergy. You're doing it to counter that Wrecking Ball is going to roll in and out, and it's working out better than it has so far on that previous control map.
Yeah, this is a relatively good Roadhog point. There's not a lot of places to hide from that long hook distance, and Tiger just essentially playing a third DPS role, which might be valuable. As we mentioned, the DPS from Canisius haven't been on their A game today. But St. Peter's, they're going to be pushing in with a team Old Apocalypse here. We're actually quite close to a full Old Apocalypse if Devil and Tiger get their ultimates before. Nope, and there we go. Sellout Spot can use the full lessons hooked right out of it by Tiger, who's just hitting hook after hook out of St. Peter's. It is arguably the sole reason they haven't been able to touch this point.
And that was a high noon being committed first by Nautius. Almost found the Mercy out, but Drinking Money was in the Valk. Not going to be taking it out, but that's going to be the whole hog offline. Ricardo, they might be looking for the Death Blossom. If they can hit a big one, this might be a full cap here.
Death Blossom could be massive, or it could not matter at all, but no, it's going to be big enough as the rest of St. Peter's cleans up off the back of it. 3 minutes 40 left. Tiger's going to be the next one to return, but all of St. Peter's is there to give them a run for their money. Take a breather just to stall the point for 1 or 2 more seconds. Spudinator just trying to touch the point, but Ricardo standing in spawn, gonna find a triple kill on the back of this. 3.5 minutes on the clock right now. Monster on the Lucio, desperate to stall the point, but unable to do much otherwise. Min finds the resurrection onto Ricardo, who went down just moments ago. The Shatter finally coming out from Special K, trying to clean up off the back of anything that they can. But Canisius, they've got to come on top of this. Tiger with the whole hog, trying to make that happen, able to find a double kill in the madness. They're back on the May swap as well from Spudinator, and somehow Canisius, they stabilize.
You know, 95% were able to get onto the plane at the last second. It was the whole hog that was their saving grace. Devil Nagiri had that Death Blossom before they died, tried using it on top of Ricardo's Death Blossom. It did not work out. I thought that was going to be lights out for Canisius on this defense, but they were able to bring it back for just a little bit. You see where that ticker is, 95%, but it's going to go back down to 66.7, so still need 1/3 of the point to win it. And St. Peter's, they might have used an entire ult bank before, but now they've built up an entire another one.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to see that they lost that fight and were able to almost get all 3 point caps. So now they've got 6 more ultimates to push in. Here comes the minefield early on, a great space maker, and several of them are caught right in the middle of it. We see Valkyrie, and Ricardo just going to clean up the team right away. There goes a quadruple, making a quintuple. Do we see the team kill here? Is Special K just trying to make it out? No, that's going to be a team kill in favor of St. Peter's University. 2 minutes and 12 seconds left on the clock. Canisius College, they gave a solid defense, but the question is, can they attack even stronger?
That is going to be the question. They need to have a solid attack, because if they do not, then that's going to be the end of this series. You see Ricardo here playing the advantage, getting a very nice Death Blossom. And there's a Death Blossom from Devil Nagiri right on top of it. It's a risky play. It can work out sometimes in your favor, but going in already at a little bit less than half health with the Death Blossom, you're never going to come out on that battle on top.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tiger, just an absolute powerhouse on that Roadhog, just made a world of difference for Canisius. Arguably, like I said, the reason they won 2 or 3 of those defensive holds against St. Peter's. But as they push in, like I already said a moment ago, can they push in better than we've seen from them all evening?
I agree. Tiger on that Roadhog. Seems like they really want to play that off tank, and I see why. It's a great counter, but also seems to be what they might be most comfortable with, best at, something like that. You always have your favorite picks in your role. I know as a flex support, I love Zenyatta more than anything else, so if I can play Zen, I will try to play it. So any excuse is a good reason to play your favorite characters. Not going to be running it this time, though. They're going to be going for a Ryan Zarya with a Pharmacy. This is very intriguing because there is no hit scan right now coming out for St. Peter's. The only long-range damage they really have is the Ana. The Mei can be worthwhile, but it's very hard to hit those alternate fire shots, that icicle. So this might actually give Canisius a huge edge.
Yeah, absolutely. Nachos, the one time they're not playing McCree is arguably the most important time they should be, but 2 alternate fires from Ricardo connect right away and almost take Spudnator out of the fight. I'm sure he's thanking the heavens for that Mercy Pocket keeping him alive. Gonna look for that concussion mine off the bridge, able to find none of them as they all maintain the high ground, but Nachos falling underneath the bridge. They've got to find that elimination quick. 2 minutes and 12 seconds is a tall order to fill, and they've got to get eliminating St. Peter's right away.
See the rotation coming out right now from St. Peter's. They see that the McCree is kind of separated. The charge is going to come in on the other side from Special K. Now they're stuck in a room. The spam damage isn't going to be enough from Spudnator to take anyone down. That was a great play by Ricardo, able to find that headshot onto the Pharah.
Yeah, the spammage from Junkrat there are going to be much more valuable than the spammage you're going to find from a long-distance Pharah. The direct shots are really where Pharah gets to shine. And the flash fan almost finding the elimination onto Nachos, but somehow he falls and stays alive if it's even for a moment. St. Peter's, they've got, oh my goodness, control of the point, and they've just got to make the magic happen now. But Canisius, they've got the better positioning. They've got the high ground, which is always the place you want to be. The question is, can they find the follow-up damage they're looking for?
Almost doing out Ricardo there, went way too deep in enemy backlines, but able to get out due to the Mei wall and the Mei freeze. Now you see that they have the Valkyrie from Vinman, they have the tire from Nachos, almost gets stunned and killed. The accretion not going to be enough to take out this Junkrat. This
Junkrat tire, it's got the potential to be big, and it sure is. Able to find a triple kill. They get a quad off the back of a mine right into Special K's back there. It's going to be a quadruple kill for Nachos, who, like I said earlier, and I still stand by, is the player to watch in this matchup because they have been steamrolling since the first second of this series.
They have been steamrolling. It doesn't matter what they play. Every hero has been class, maybe except for Ashe. Ashe was a bit back and forth, but it's all right to have one off hero. Canisius College, they need to make sure they don't have an off ultimate moment. They have that Barrage, they have the Valkyrie, they have the Nano. Is it worth committing all 3 of those ultimates to try to clean up this fight? We're going to find out what they decide in a second.
Yeah, they're sure going to have to try, but I mean, there's a freeze, there's a sleep, and there's an accretion to try to get rid of that barrage. So Spudnator's going to have to time it very well. Maybe even find an elimination onto one of those 3 beforehand just to even guarantee the ability. And there's the elimination as I talk about it. That's going to be huge for Canisius if Spudnator doesn't get taken out by an Ana here.
Yeah, not just to stay alive, wait, and drive back in. I think it's going to come out any second as they're waiting for that angle. Nagiri, though, going to be the one actually using the ult as Spudnator fell. Now they're going to res it.
But the resurrection comes back through. It's going to be a triple kill for Canisius. This is the final opportunity they've needed. They're going to find Poviga this deep in the fight. And Min Min, she's somehow still alive, but she's going to get caught by that hammer. You can only avoid death for so long when you're standing on his doorstep.
And they committed everything except for the barrage, which I believed was going to be the ultimate they wanted to use first. Instead, it's what they kept for last. St. Peter's, though, they only committed 2 ultimates there. They committed the Nano, they committed the Shatter, but they still have everything else online. So as long as they aren't wiped away by this barrage, and as long as they don't use everything here in this fight, they still can hold out for a bit longer. Meanwhile, I was looking at the barrage, but Tiger almost has that Graviton Surge, so that combo could be too much for St. Peter's to handle.
I was just about to say that as well. Tiger has that grab online, or will in a moment, and grab Barrage, assuming the Pharah isn't slept or eliminated, is just lethal to say the very least. That will wipe a team out in the blink of an eye. The question is, can they be coordinated with positioning well enough to do it? Because Tiger in a great position to hit a grab, but Spudinator currently nowhere to be found.
Yeah, Spudinator trying to go all the way behind. I'm not sure they see them. It really comes down to if you think Rez can eat this Graviton Surge, but you can't eat it if you're in the Gravitic Flux.
And Nachos makes it even harder as he takes out the Pharmacy with the tire. I believe that's the 3rd attempt we've seen at a Junkrat trying to take out a Pharmacy today, but the first successful one we've seen coming out of Nachos, which is no surprise. I could not praise this current DPS player enough. Canisius, 3 minutes on the clock. In theory, they can still cap with equal or more time than St. Peter's, but they've got to be pushing in right here, right now to beat that.
They have 5 ultimates too. They didn't commit anything there in that lost fight, so good perseverance by them. Good preservation is what I was trying to say. Now they have a lot to use, but they're just getting a bit too sloppy with it. I mean, we talked about this before. You can't hold on to ultimates forever. You sometimes need to swap off gears, change how things are done. Pharah, not great here because that ceiling box, the sky box, is not very good. You see her just go up and immediately hit something, and now she's had to drop down.
Yeah, the Pharah doesn't have the distance you need to really capitalize off of a barrage and keeps splitting away from the rest of the team, which I'm not sure is the call. I understand the ideology of not wanting a Pharah in that tight corridor. Maybe the rest of the team shouldn't be in that corridor either. As Spudinator, again, is the first person eliminated.
There's going to be a big shatter. The Grab's going to follow up. The ult coming out. I think they're going to be in St. Peter's favor. That Blizzard might have sealed the deal.
Yeah, the Blizzard absolutely sealed the deal. Ricardo got to rain havoc. He's going to rain a little bit of justice from his own pockets here. And Spudinator still holding on to that barrage. Canisius College, they've got to remember to press Q because they've been holding on to these ultimates for what feels like an eternity.
The good thing for Canisius College is, again, you're still getting things out of St. Peter's. They committed a lot to win that fight. Now all they have is the Valkyrie. So it's quite going to swap onto the Baptiste. So no more Ana, no more Nano, but they do have that immortality field, so we'll see if that's going to be enough to keep them sustained during this barrage. Meanwhile, Canisius, they still have 4 ultimates. They committed their tank ults there, but they have everything else online if they can hit Q, and that's a big if considering that they've been very slow on it. They could still get this fight won and that point capped.
Absolutely, and we see the sellout squad swap to the Baptiste, which is very important because when you're barraging a tank, every rocket counts. So that immortality field might be able to keep them alive for just a moment longer than normal. Devil now looking for a bit of a cheeky. Oh, all right. Spudinator full commits to the barrage they've been holding for 4 minutes into a Baptiste, which was, in my opinion, could not have been the more wrong play. But now we see Canisius, they're pushing in. Here's the Valkyrie. Here's the Nano Boost. They've still got the Tiger and the Shatter. The Devil taken out before the high nuke can come online. Special K able to pick up an elimination, but Poviga going to be brought right back up. Nachos finds Tiger. Canisius, they've got 40 seconds and now 0 ultimates. Against St. Peter's, you've got a massive spawn advantage and a Junkrat who is constantly bloodthirsty.
That was a great play there from Min Min and Sellout Squad on that point. There's a res coming in from Min Min. They are out in the open trying to get their Reinhardt back online, and the immortality field being committed to make sure that res came through really helped clean up that fight. Nacho's already more than halfway to another tire. This is just crazy. The Rip Tire is coming online every fight.
Yeah, at this point, Nachos, he knows he owns this lobby. It is Nachos' world, and Canisius College, they're just the team unfortunate enough to be living in it. Right now, another tire online. I wouldn't be surprised to see him pull it just for the giggles, because he has it again. Here it comes. Even a single elimination secures a win here for this team, and Frankenbunny's going to be the one to fall. Canisius College, they've got the numbers, but they needed to be on point. They needed a first take for these numbers to matter. As St. Peter's, they're just ripping them apart once again. A massive spawn advantage at the end of the day is what this is all about. And Canisius, they've got to find these eliminations. Right now, St. Peter's, they're just standing there, just making sure that Canisius doesn't get any value.
And Special K was just too scared to go in because they were so weak with the Lucio heals. Not enough to sustain a tank that plays aggressive. The amplification matrix garage door coming in just at the end to secure things up. And St. Peter's bouncing back from a loss last week to be able to beat a team at the same record this decisively, it's going to give them a lot of confidence going into that last week of the fall split.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know what St. Peter's losses have been, but, you know, if they're a school like Marist or RIT, of course you're going to be losing to them because those teams right now seem undefeatable with the way they. So St. Peter's, they may have lost a couple, but very clearly they are a capable team, to say the least.
And it was to Marist, exactly. So yeah, losing to the top of the table, that's not a bad thing. We talked about Canisius. They lost to Quinnipiac last week, and they're, you know, right up below that top three. They're like 4 or 5, so still in that top 5 sphere. So, you know, they might not be at the tippy top, but still, if you're a team like St. Peter's, you can compete in the upper mid table. And, you know, once you go into that spring split, once you end that fall split, if you can continue to improve and, you know, grind the game and just gel together as a squad, maybe later on you can contest to those top teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And with a very convincing 3-0 victory for St. Peter's, we're now going to jump to a quick break, get our interviewee in here, and we'll talk about the game a little bit more then. So don't go far. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are here at the end of a very convincing win from St. Peter's University, and we are here with support player Sellout Squad. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys?
We are doing all right. Thank you so much for asking. So, you guys, you know, you lost last week, but your record's still very good. You know, you're in the middle between these teams, and you come out on top of a win here tonight against Canisius, and a very effective one at that, a 3-0. So, how do you think that kind of helps your momentum moving forward?
Moving forward, well, I can say the team feels really good, especially about like a win like this one. You know, like after you have like a hard week, a hard loss, it's easy to get down. It's easy to get like tilted and stuff. But we rally together as a team. We talk about stuff, and we to come back and like have like a performance like this one to show that maybe like the last week was just like a fluke or something. We can like bounce back and come back stronger. It feels really nice, honestly, and I think we're gonna carry the momentum moving forward.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear such a positive mindset. That's always awesome to see in the community. But now I'm going to throw you over to Jag, who I'm sure has got a couple questions for you.
Yeah, it's great to bounce back. Like a win like that. I know Maris is a pretty tough opponent. So no shame in losing to them. I'm sure you'll try to get back at it again if you have
Oh,
a rematch.
definitely.
I want to ask. So you were talking about this during the break. You and Canisius, the teams are friends, St. Peter's and Canisius. So does that change kind of how you play the game at all? Like, does it feel better to be playing in a
Uh,
more friendly environment, or is it still just competition? Like you want to win?
Honestly, it feels a lot more fun because we've played with Canisius before and we know their players, especially Spud. I love Spud, honestly. Spudinator, he's like one of the kindest people here in like the whole like circuit, and it's just a lot more fun when you're playing against them because there's like no like bad feelings. It's just like for laughs and stuff. And like towards the end, we started throwing around some like for fun picks. Like I think Goonman Nachos popped out the Junkrat and in like the third point. It was for fun. It's fun. It's fun.
So I gotta ask about Nachos because me and Seps once we were watching this and we are like, this guy is cracked. He is insane on the
That's
echoes,
true.
insane on the Junkrat. I gotta ask, what is he like in the comms? Like, was he freaking out about how good his plays were, or was he just kind of like, all right, guys, let's just finish
Oh,
this out, let's win
it's
these
so
fights?
weird. He's like the complete opposite. Like he's so calm about everything. When he when he makes a good play, he'll like acknowledge it. He's like, "Yo, I'm so cracked." He'll be like, "I'm insane, guys." But like besides that, he's usually like really calm and he's like really good at shot calling too. So we usually just listen to him and Minmin's calls the whole time.
Yeah, been doing a great job on that support role, but
Hmm.
that's it for me. So Seps, unless you got anything else, let's wrap up this interview.
Yeah, no, my last thing is I'm just so glad to see such positivity in the esports community. Absolutely warms my heart. So it's great to hear that there's such a good bond between these two teams, even in that competitive sense. But those are all the questions we have for you tonight, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. And please extend our congratulations to your team as a whole. You guys got that win, and you guys have some great momentum moving forward. So best of luck to you for the rest of the series.
Thank you. I hope you guys have a nice night too with the broadcast and stuff.
Thank
Oh,
you so
thank
much,
you.
man. We'll see you
All
later.
right.
Have a good one.
Bye,
And
guys.
that, everybody, we are going to call this game an end. Everybody, jump on over to EGF Overwatch, our second channel, as Niagara takes on Marist. And this channel is going to be on break till 9. So if you want to keep watching, hop over there. There's going to be plenty of games for you, cast by our good friends, I believe, Dryan and Sir Waltham. So they'll be over there, and I'll probably hop in that chat as well. But if you want to see more Overwatch on main channel, there's going to be another game coming up at 9. It'll be Jag and not me. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name at the moment.
It's
But it's
with Rich Rad.
Rich Rad. So it'll be Jag and Rich Rad then, but this is my final game for the evening. And for the time being, this will be Septilence and Jag signing off. We'll see you guys later.